When my son bought his first house, I thought it was one of the proudest moments of my life. I had worked 2 jobs, skipped meals, and saved every penny to make sure he had a good education and a chance to build a better life than I had. When he handed me the keys and said, "You can stay here, Mom, until you figure out your next steps," I felt tears sting my eyes. I thought it was his way of thanking me. I didn't realize it was the beginning of the hardest lesson I'd ever learn about pride, gratitude, and a mother's quiet strength. At first, things were fine. He had a new job, a beautiful home, and a lovely wife who seemed kind enough. I tried to make myself useful. I cooked, I cleaned, I tended to the garden, even looked after their dog when they were away. I wanted to be part of their life without being in the way. But slowly something shifted. The tone in my son's voice began to change. Where there was once warmth, now there was impatience. Where there had been gratitude, there was now irritation. It started with little things. "Mom, don't move that." "Mom, you're too loud on the phone." "Mom, I wish you'd ask before touching things." Each word chipped away at something inside me. I told myself it was just stress, that he was adjusting to married life and new responsibilities. But the truth came out one evening, when I overheard him talking to his wife in the kitchen. He said, "I can't wait until she moves out. It's weird having her here. I didn't buy this house for her." My heart sank. The boy I'd raised, the one I'd protected, sacrificed for, and loved beyond measure, saw me as a burden. In his voice there was no respect, no love, only embarrassment. And his wife didn't disagree. She just sighed and said, "Maybe she's just lonely. But yes, it's time." I went to bed that night feeling small, like I was standing in a home that had once been built by my love, but no longer had room for me. Still, I didn't confront him. Mothers always hope it's just a phase, that kindness will find its way back into their children's hearts. A week later, the moment came that shattered every illusion I had. He came home from work, looked at me sitting on the couch knitting, and said, "Mom, you need to start thinking about where you'll stay next month. I need my space." He said it so casually, as if he were discussing the weather. I looked up at him, trying to find the boy I once knew, the little child who used to hold my hand and say, "Mom, I'll take care of you one day." But he wasn't there anymore. In his place was a man too blinded by his own pride to remember where he came from. So I nodded. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I just said quietly, "All right." That night, I packed a small suitcase, just clothes, my photo album, and a few keepsakes. I left the rest of my belongings behind. Before dawn, I slipped out of the house, leaving him a note on the counter that read, "Thank you for everything. I hope this space brings you peace." For the first time in years, I didn't have a plan. I rented a tiny room at the edge of town, nothing fancy, just a bed, a stove, and a window that faced the morning sun. It was quiet, and it was mine. I got a part-time job at a local bakery, where the owner, a kind woman named Mrs. Reed, treated me like family. I worked, saved, and smiled again. It was strange how peace could come in small, humble places. Months passed. I didn't hear from my son much. Occasionally, I'd get a text, short, polite, distant. I missed him, but I didn't chase him. Sometimes, love means stepping back and letting the world teach lessons you can't. Then one evening, as I was closing up the bakery, I got a call. His voice was shaky, desperate. "Mom, can I come stay with you for a while?" At first, I thought I'd misheard. My son, the same one who had told me I was taking up too much space, was now asking for mine. I asked what happened. He hesitated before saying, "We lost the house. Things fell apart." When he arrived, I barely recognized him. The confident man who once stood tall in his brand new home now looked tired, broken. His marriage had crumbled. His company had downsized. He'd lost almost everything, including the friends who'd only stayed close when things were good. He stepped into my small rented house and looked around, confused. It wasn't much, no fancy furniture, no luxury decor, but it was warm, it was clean, and it was peaceful. He looked at me and said softly, "I didn't realize how much love can make a place feel like home." I didn't scold him. I didn't say, "I told you so." I just smiled gently and said, "You're welcome to stay, for a little while." Days turned into weeks. He helped me around the house, fixed the leaky faucet, painted the porch and cooked dinner sometimes. He was quieter, humbler, softer. One evening, as we sat together watching the sun set through the small window, he said, "Mom, I'm sorry. I forgot who taught me what love looks like." Tears welled up in my eyes, not from pain, but from something like healing, because I knew that sometimes life has to break people open for them to truly see. He started to rebuild his life, slowly. He found a smaller apartment, started a new job, and began volunteering at a community center that helped struggling families. I saw glimpses of the boy I had raised, the one with kindness in his eyes and humility in his heart. One morning before he left for work, he hugged me tightly and said, "I hope one day I can buy another house, but this time, I'll make sure there's always a room that's yours." I smiled and said, "You don't owe me a room, son. Just remember that a home isn't about walls or space, it's about gratitude." Now, whenever I think back to that chapter of my life, I don't feel bitterness. I feel peace, because I realized something profound. Sometimes, our children have to lose what they once took for granted to understand the value of love that asks for nothing. It's easy to forget where you came from when life feels comfortable, but the universe has a way of reminding you, gently for some, painfully for others, that pride built without gratitude always crumbles. For me, revenge never came through anger or words. It came quietly through grace. Because the sweetest form of justice isn't watching someone fall. It's standing tall when they finally see your worth. And as I sit here now, in this little home that smells like bread and sunlight, I realize that I didn't lose anything that mattered. I gave, I loved, and I let go. And in return, I gained something far greater than a roof or recognition. I gained peace. Because true power doesn't come from owning a house. It comes from owning your heart.